Call the November 16th pre-council meeting to order, presided over by the Honorable Mayor Robert Odekirk. Krista?
Start with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Girl.
Here.
Councilman Hug. He's here and just stepped out. Councilman McFarland.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman. Here. Councilman Turk.
Here. We have a brief agenda for tomorrow evening, but what we do have, I'd like to review with you. First of all, under the consent agenda is a position vacancy. We have a known vacancy coming forward of a police officer, patrol officer, so we're looking to fill that position. The next item under the consent agenda is the renewal of the group health, dental, vision, and life insurance program. You may recall that we employ the services of Gallagher as our broker to go out and represent the city in obtaining quotes for all of these and to negotiate our rates each year. Tomorrow they will be in attendance at the Finance Committee meeting to present that and answer any questions, and then they'll also be at the meeting tomorrow evening if you have any further questions as well. Under license permits and applications, we have a number of liquor license applications.
Mayor, City Council, start with Council Memo 596-15. A public hearing was held on Wednesday, October 28, 2015 at 9 a.m. for request of a new Class C liquor license. The requesting location is at 2101 West Jefferson Street, DBA Walgreens Company. Representing the applicant is Donovan Pepper, resident manager Jennifer Baez. No persons appeared in opposition to the hearing. There's no outstanding monies owed to the city. Police and fire and building departments have no issues. Based on the facts of the hearing, the Liquor Commission is recommending approval of this license. Council Number 594-15. A public hearing was held on Wednesday, October 28, 2015 at 9:30 a.m. for request of a Class C liquor license. Requesting locations is 1514 Essington Road, DBA Walgreens Company. Representing the applicant is Donovan Pepper, and the resident manager is Brian Zitello. No citizens appeared in opposition. There's no outstanding money owed to the city. Police and fire have no issues with the license. And based on the facts of the hearing, the Liquor Commission has recommended approval of this license. Council Member 595-15. Public hearing was held on the 28th at 9:15 a.m. for a Class C liquor license. Requesting location is 1163 West Jefferson Street, DBA Walgreens Company. Representing the applicant is Donovan Pepper, and the resident manager is Gustavo Bustista. No citizens appeared in opposition. There's no outstanding monies owed to the city. Police and fire and building department have no issues. Based on these facts and the facts of the hearing, the Liquor Commission has recommended approval of the license. And last is Council Number 593-15. A public hearing was held on Wednesday, October 28th at 9:45 a.m. for request of a Class C liquor license. Requesting location is 4822 Caton Farm Road, DBA Walgreens Company. The applicant representing by Donovan Pepper, resident manager Todd Swanson. No citizen appeared in opposition. There's no outstanding monies owed to the city. The police and fire and building departments have no issues with the license. And based on the facts of the hearing, the Liquor Commission is recommending approval of the license.
Any questions?
Outstanding report, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to vote on these separately?
Tomorrow?
Yeah. Not all of one?
Sure.
Okay, I didn't know when she was asking. It's separated here, but I wasn't sure.
Mr. O'Connell didn't add, I probably should. There were two other applications. I don't have the addresses. The one would be right across the street from Joliet Central High School,
The other one by Joliet Catholic Academy there on the corner.
and those were both denied by the Liquor
Right.
Commission.
Just being too close to the school.
Because of
so
the
those
proximity to the school.
Right.
Good job.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
one of the things we forgot to do upon start of the meeting was to ask for input from residents who are here to speak on agenda items.
Sure.
No one has signed up, but if anyone would like to speak on any agenda items, now would be the time.
We got through that easily.
Maybe we didn't forget.
Anyways, moving your attention to Council Memo 597, which is an application for a drive-through permit for a BP car wash located at 1411 Riverboat Center Drive. The site plan is attached. This is, the access to the site will be Hobart Road and Rock Creek Boulevard with a full entrance off Riverboat Center Drive for the proposed drive-through. You see two lots on the site plan. The Lot 1 is vacant right now, and they've got future plans for that, but Lot 2 is where the gas station is located with the proposed car wash. You'll see attached to that between the main structure and the car wash a proposed liquor store. That is something that would need council approval as well in the future. If that is proposed, there'd be a liquor license that would have to be issued for that. Any questions?
Jim?
Yes.
I believe the council did approve a liquor license for that spot.
Oh, really? In the past? Okay,
You may want to double check.
we will. Then we have, under ordinances and resolutions, Council Memo 599, which is a request to extend the eligibility list for the police officer list that we have in place. We went through the process. We had a total of 782 candidates go through the written portion of the exam. We had 160 candidates that were selected to participate in the oral portion of the exam. 146 took the exam, and as of now, this date, 16 of the first 48 candidates have been conditionally approved by the commissioners and subsequently hired. As you can see from the number of candidates, this is a long and arduous process, and so we're barely into the list, and so staff was recommending to the police and fire commissioners, and they made a recommendation to City Council to extend this list for an additional year.
The list is only 1 year old, correct?
Yes. Moving on to Council Memo 600 is, again, declaring certain properties as public nuisances, 2 locations on Grant Street and 1 on South Hubbard. Again, this is typically in an effort to get compliance for code violations to upgrade the property, and we don't necessarily hope it leads to a demolition, but renovation of the properties.
Mayor,
Yes.
quick question. I'm going backwards, just one item. Just for my curiosity, when it comes to the state mandated police and fire lists, how long can we extend them? Is there a limit?
Ken, would you know the answer to that?
Councilman, I believe with the fire list, it's a maximum of 2 years. With the police, there is not a maximum.
Thank you.
Typically, have we gone beyond 2 years ever?
Yeah.
We have gone longer on sometimes. I think there were several times when we went longer. Some of it had to do with the fact that we weren't hiring for years at a time during the recession and that. And so, yes, we have. But I know that like I said, the fire's limited now to 2, and the police is unlimited, although I don't think the staff would recommend much longer than that generally.
And the reason for not extending it typically beyond 2 years is a lot of your top candidates are also top candidates in other communities, and they've accepted jobs in other communities, and you move further and further down the list. And we'd like to capture as many top candidates, going through the list as we can. Item 602 is a resolution accepting dedication of right-of-way for Augusta Lane and Pinehurst Drive in the Country Club Villa subdivision. This came before the Land Use Committee, and recommendation was made by the committee. I can share with you the concerns of staff, and One of the questions that was asked, and we sent out a correspondence to you on Friday about the number of other private street subdivisions that exist today that could also, subsequent to, if you approve this, they could come in under the same premise and say, we want you to take our streets. So there were 4 subdivisions, Clearwater Springs Townhomes, Country Club Villas, the Waterford Point subdivision, and Wooded Creek subdivision at Rookery Lane. And there are a number of others, 3 others that could potentially, if they added, made some improvements with sidewalks within their subdivision, and then asked to be part of the city. But staff's concern was that this would kind of open the door to other associations asking us to take over their streets. So,
Mayor?
and start maintaining, plowing, and filling potholes and replacing the streets in the future years.
Question. Jim, on those other subdivisions that you mentioned, were they built to City of Joliet specifications?
Yes, they were.
They were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Thanks.
question? Yes. My understanding on this subdivision, though, sign of the times, going back to the Great Recession, that it actually, the builder went into bankruptcy, it's now bank-owned. So I don't know that we have other subdivisions that are private, quote-unquote, that are currently being held by a bank. So any mission or any stated goal to be a private community fell apart when that developer went bankrupt. You know, I think as a city, we have to step up. I don't think it's the same as an established gated community saying we want to have you take it over.
Every gated community upon completion or a certain percentage of completion is turned over to the homeowners association. And they're responsible, they pay dues for maintenance and plowing of the streets. And that's really no different than the developer going bankrupt, where every developer is responsible to provide bonds for the city to make sure that there's completion. And as a matter of fact, I think we're still cashing in a bond at this point to provide streetlights in this subdivision. So, but still, once it's complete, those would be the responsibility of the association, just like the other private developments.
How many units are built and how many were proposed?
In this subdivision,
Yes.
I'm not sure.
There are two units are built. There's one 4-unit and one 3-unit.
And how many were proposed going back before?
I believe there are another 10 proposed, 10 buildings. But of course, you know, there's no market at this particular
Right.
point in time for the construction or the sale of any of those particular lots, so.
Yes.
Mike, just to clarify, regardless of the amount of units that are built out, the infrastructure is there of what we would be taking over, correct?
That is correct, that's correct.
So all the improvements are there in terms of streets. We'd be maintaining.
Everything is there, and Mr. Ock is correct in that there were bonds that the city had, and they finished, the streets were finished to city specs, and the street lights were installed, and everything was done, so everything has to city specs. What separates this development from the others that were mentioned is that there are only 4 developments in the city of Joliet that for which they're totally built out to city specs. Now, I don't know where 2 of them are located, to be very honest, but Wooded Creek is one of them, and I know the people in Wooded Creek, not to speak for them, they want to maintain their development as a private development. So, you know, this is a very tiny and small development. I'd like to introduce, if I could please, we have residents here from the area. If you could please stand up. We have 4 of the homeowners, 4 of the homes represented who have come here tonight to show their interest and support for this particular situation. I think this situation is a lot different than the others that may be presented and maybe could impact the city in the long term with respect to additional costs and expenses, so.
Mayor, question.
Yes.
This little subdivision is unique is because it's smaller than the other subdivisions that are kind of the same. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there any chance in the future that it could be built out to have more homes in that area?
Yes.
Up to how many?
Like I said, I think there's I think it's about 10 more units could be in there, okay?
What would the total be then? If
Well,
that were to
there's-
happen,
there's
if
2
10 more?
now, okay? There's 2.
2 units?
There's 2
12
buildings
units?
now. Excuse me. There we go. 24 homes, that's better information than I had, and 5 total buildings.
You do your homework.
And how many units per building?
Oh, wait a minute, can I finish? So, in comparison to the other subdivisions that you saw at Wooded Creek, how many offhand do you know are in Wooded Creek?
Well, I couldn't even hazard a guess. John,
Okay.
what would you say?
On the gated side,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where it is.
I know there's a total of 107 total. I would say on the gated side, maybe 30, 40, 40,
Homes?
42 lots
Could
on
be, oh, yeah.
the gated side.
At least that many.
So it's not really unique in its size. Is that what you're saying, Councilman? John?
I mean, Wooded Creek is much larger than this, much larger.
I was talking to you.
Wooded Creek, like I said, on the gated side, there's probably about 42, 43. I don't live on the gated side, so I wouldn't know. It's gated. No,
Let's pass a note through the gate, okay?
that's right.
Okay, thank you.
Mike, or the residents, so you said there's 25 homes that total build-out would be the total?
5 buildings, 25 homes.
Units within 5 buildings. And how many buildings and homes are there now?
2 buildings, 7 units.
And I believe that the current, call them a developer if you want, the bank that owns them is saying that they don't see a market to sell under the gated community. There's
is
just
no
not a demand for it right now.
Exactly correct.
So we would be
Market even
asking,
to sell in an ungated community.
well, we would be asking 30% of the total development moving forward to carry the cost of a proposed community.
See, here's the other thing, is that we could have come to the city of Joliet right now, bring this development to the city as an ungated community, and the city would accept the streets. So what is the difference with that, with what we're proposing today? I don't see any difference.
Right, and if we don't, we're asking a small group to carry the cost of what was originally a much larger group in proposal.
Exactly right. When in fact, they're already still paying city taxes for fire, sewer, water, and all the other city services. So they're just asking to be treated the same way as all the other various subdivisions in the city are.
And the bank seems to think if it were to become a non-gated, moving forward, they might have a better chance of actually selling some of the units.
Well, yeah, certainly that's from the bank's point of view.
Right, okay, thank you.
Mr. Hanson, all the roads are all developed now, right? There's no more roads going in.
No. Well, the roads, no, Councilman, the roads may be extended if the homes are ever built out, yes.
Right, okay.
The first phase is complete.
Can you come to the microphone?
Okay.
Mike,
I stand.
come step up. Sir, they can't hear you on TV unless you're at the mic. Could you step up, please? Thank you.
Phase 1 has been improved. I'm Randy Bushin.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us here tonight. Phase 1 is complete, okay, as far as all the improvements are done, including the roads. And that's all that's proposed right now to finish the 24 homes. Phase 2 and Phase 3, it's farmland. Nothing's been done. And according to the bank, there's no plans to do anything but sell it as farmland. That's what we've been told.
Okay. Thank you.
Questions? Anyone else? Thank you.
My name is Chris Flugner. I live in that community also. And I just want to mention the fact that Joliet initially installed the streets. Okay? P.T. Farrell came in, and Joliet crews were out there, Joliet inspectors, and Joliet engineers were all out there. It's got Joliet streets, Joliet sidewalks, it got Joliet sewers with Joliet names on them, and all the Joliet street signs were put up by Joliet. One day I come out there and I see all of Joliet out there putting the street signs up. They came by my driveway and they dug up part of my concrete driveway, and I said, well, while you're here digging, can you go and fix the walkway going up to my stairs? And he says, well, no, because this is a Joliet sidewalk. So they put the sidewalks all the way down both sides. They also put in the, cut into our retention pond for the overflow and put in the sewer system, which also goes down to the lift pump, which Joliet comes out there and maintains also. Also, we're lighting up Spencer Road, which we're paying for the electric bill, with the street light that's there. So it's just, you know, it's kind of like Joliet's already been there many times.
Mayor, I'm sorry, just one last question. I just want to make sure and be clear, the streets in this subdivision are built to city specs, specifications? Okay. So
Got
they're not,
hand-
they're not like private roads, they're not smaller, they're not more narrow, they're built to city specs? Okay, thank you.
Joliet comes and parks their trucks there. ComEd parks their trucks there. You know, they're all in there.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I might.
Yes.
Thank you. What I would say is, and I appreciate the staff's recommendation as far as precedence setting and being concerned about that. You know, after the great collapse, whatever you want to call it, I think that there's going to be a lot more situations that are going to continue to develop like this, where it was supposed to be this and now it's only that. And so I don't compare this to, say, a Wooded Creek that's pretty much all built out and done, very successful, completed subdivision. This is one that was a victim of the economic times, and those folks that did buy into it are now being asked to carry, even as Joliet residents and paying taxes here, what another additional 30 or 40 people would have helped pay. So I kind of see what they're pleading for, and that's just to be treated because of the situation that was created economically that can no longer maintain as a gated community, just become another neighborhood. Correct?
Mayor, my only concern is that, and this is a policy decision of the city council, is that I believe you're going to have difficulty denying the other 4 subdivisions, which age their streets and infrastructure 8 to 14 years old already, and adding another 2 miles of streets to our already overburdened snowplow routes as well as street maintenance. And it's going to be difficult to say no to any of those subdivisions because they have the exact same situation as this group does. They were all inspected by city inspectors. They were all put in to city specifications, and there's really no difference. Plus, you'll have to start paying the expense for the streetlights in all of these locations as well.
Well, but right now, city taxes are essentially paying for the maintenance and overseeing of these streets. And if we brought in any additional plats of subdivision to the city for development, the city would gladly accept them and put those streets on the city program. So
But
what's
that's the
difference?
same way it is with the other 4 subdivisions, too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item is the approving of an easement for a natural gas pipeline for between First Midwest and the city. This is the Public Service Committee will review this. The proposed pipeline crosses 2 city-maintained roads, Laraway and Schweitzer. Then there's awards of contracts, and a couple I want to point out to you. We're going out to bid on our citywide newsletter. We'll be ready to publish our second full 8-page edition here before the end of the calendar year. And one of the things, so we will have 4 8-page issues next year. The other thing is that we are having each one of the newsletters will be on our website in Spanish. And on the English version that gets delivered to your home, it will say that you can view it in Spanish on the city website. The other thing, once again on our agenda, is the request for the purchase order for the asset management and citizen request system. This is coming back to you after a number of questions that you raised at the last meeting. We sent out to you in my Friday report answers to these questions. So at this point, I think Jim Egan's is available to answer any of your questions. Hopefully, these questions have been answered and assist you in leading towards a decision. And if there's Jim, maybe if you can come up and show a couple of the PowerPoint slides, I want to point out a couple of things at least.
The mayor's going to put you on a 4-minute time thing here.
Thank you.
Open mic's over.
We all love talking engineering, but
Tried to speed this along. Some of the issues that were raised last time, I provided answers to the questions. They had a summary memo that went out on Friday. I'm not going to go through those for the sake of time, but just one of the big questions, why now? The program is going to save operating costs for the city. I think now is more important than ever as we're trying to demonstrate the needs and cut efficiencies, improve efficiencies for the city staff, and try to save money. We're going to be able to complete more work with existing staff and improve our overall bottom line. One of the big keys, the return on investment analysis that was prepared and that's included in the council memo. By my estimates, I predict that we'll see an operating savings of $40,000 a month. There's one of the questions is, where do those numbers come from? And how accurate are those? Those are my projections based on observations from city staff. I feel I'm light on my estimates. I didn't want to come forward with an outrageous prediction on what our savings are going to be based on trying to predict in the future. So I feel that these numbers are light and that they're a good estimate. Going through and trying to get onto the main thing that by moving forward now with this, it's going to take a year to implement this software, and for us, we're not going to see those savings until we go live with the program and get staff trained on it. So we've been ready to move forward with this item since July. So the longer we wait, the longer it gets pushed off into the future for us to see these savings. The program on a whole, it's been identified with the strategic plan, the mayor's transition report. Everybody agrees on the need to have to do this. We put together a set of specifications, had vendors come in and give proposals on what their product can do. This product, the CityWorks software, is the lowest priced vendor that met the city requirements. It's not a Cadillac system. It's the cheapest option for us for what our needs are going forward. What we have now, the question about trying to Band-Aid the existing system. The existing system is very limited. It met a specific need for us when we purchased it 6 years ago. And at this time, going forward, we don't feel that it's prudent, wise investment to keep on putting money into a product when there's better solutions out there for the city, not only for the utility department, but it's the city on the whole. It's all residents, everybody that you represent. Everybody's going to be able to benefit from this as it improves overall customer service citywide. Looking at the cost options, the Trimble company they're the programmers for the Fieldport software. They were recommending to us to move to a new product that they want to use as the replacement product. It's called Trimble Unity. We didn't like it. It is a straight work order system similar to what we've got right now. It is a little bit cheaper than what we're predicting for the future maintenance of the Fieldport because there's going to be very costly. It's going to be a lot of customization to keep that going in the future. And if we go to the vendor to do the programming, we're going to be paying the direct cost for the programmers to maintain that. The solution that we're presenting right now that's going to be in front of you tomorrow night is a proposal that we received in July for the purchase and implementation of the product. It's going to be a hosted product, so we're not going to have servers in-house, a lot of extra programming time. There's a lot of things that the current system just doesn't do right now. By all estimates and looking what the product goes for out on the market, we predict that if we push this off to actually make the approval in 2016, that it's going to be more expensive. So, we're saying that, especially the big component on that is we've held firm on a 5-year annual maintenance cost of $129, and based on the value of what we're getting, we're saying that the CityWorks product, as in front of you right now, is going to be the best option for the city. Here's projections on the cost for the implementation and annual maintenance cost for the 4 different options. And it's our recommendation that the Trimble City Work proposal that I'm asking for approval on is the best option for the city. The question about towns that use this program, here's a representative list of other towns, similar size and area for that use this product. Cook County, on the large size, has a population of 5 million people, all the way down to Gurnee, Illinois, with a population of 31,000. We've got Springfield, we've got Champaign, Illinois, Naperville, Illinois uses it. It's a product that's going to be very versatile, and we're going to be able to stay with this product as the city continues to grow in the future. It's not something that we're going to outgrow. Financial impact, about looking at 2015 revenues versus 2016 revenues. Because it's basically December now before we would have a signed contract with the vendor, that no payments will be due until the 2016 fiscal year. So the projection on the financial impact was revised to include all payments for the product being funded through the 2016 year, with future years, 2017 through 2020, being the annual maintenance cost. So what's in front of you right now is just going to be the approval for the expenses in the 2016 calendar year. The return on investment analysis, this was my attempt to predict, what the savings for the efficiencies for the utilities department. This is only between customer service and utilities department. And my estimates on savings from staff time, having work orders come direct, where we're going to be able to get more work done, and trying to put a dollar amount onto that. It's by my estimates, I'm looking at $500,000 a year savings for the utilities department. So the overall projected savings over $1 million. And we would get similar savings, through other user departments as they started to modify their work practice and start using some of these efficiencies. But right now, because they don't use the product the same way, there would be some learning curves through staff time. So I would estimate that we'd be 18 months before we start seeing these savings with staff. And that's all I had for the presentation right now. If there's any other questions, I'd be happy to address those.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Mayor, a question for Marty.
Yes?
Marty, we kind of brought this up briefly in committee. We keep talking about this program, which is going to be paid solely out of the sewer and water fund, being used by, of course, the sewer and water department, but also other departments that aren't supported by the sewer and water fund. If these other departments are actually going to be taking advantage of this resource, part of the resource portfolio, is it legal to buy fire, police, streets a resource out of the sewer and water fund. I understood that not to be true.
Where the purchase is made, the purchase can be made there, but you're right about reconciliation. Right now, employees that are being paid out of the general fund, say in the finance department, are also doing water and sewer functions. So the water and sewer fund pays the general fund a certain percentage of what their duties and responsibilities are. So likewise, or conversely, if the general fund employees are utilizing something purchased by the water and sewer fund, the general fund could pay the water and sewer fund based on the amount of work that's being done. So the citizen, information or complaint system, the general fund should pay the water and sewer fund a proportionate amount that they're using it versus what is being used exclusively for water and sewer.
That was my understanding, and I don't see a buy-in of actual cash from any other department in the proposal. It's all under the water and sewer fund.
In terms of the purchase, as
And also with the yearly maintenance as it projects out.
well, as we go through implementation, we'll have a better idea on what percentage it's being utilized by other departments other than water and sewer, and then we'll budget that amount in subsequent years.
Would there be a payback? Let's just use as an example, the streets department, we find out that they buy into it, and I don't see any of the other department heads coming here wanting it as much. So I'm curious if they want it in their budget, and that's something I think you need to determine. But if that's true, then would there be a payback down the road? If we determined over the next 3 years that the streets department is taking 35% of the resource, taking advantage of it,
Right.
then they would pay back 35% of the purchase and implementation price.
And we may be able to use MFT funds for that, if it's street-related.
Okay.
If there are no other questions, after public comment, I've got a request for a brief closed session.
Yes.
About, excuse me, going back to the committees, we had a housing authority meeting. I didn't see for a report. Since I left,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too, I should ask.
Well, we can amend the agenda to make sure it's on there tomorrow night. And
Okay, if not,
make
I
sure
mean,
there's a
it could
report.
wait till, it wasn't nothing earth-shattering, but I just
No, we'll make sure it's added.
didn't want to.
Okay.
And that's be the same thing with Mayor, Your Honor. Jim, tomorrow as well with the Diversity Club committee meeting, I see that it will be on the agenda. It is on the agenda for
Yes.
tomorrow night?
Yes.
Okay, good deal.
And since there's no votes during reports, that can be added without it being amended.
Oh, okay, great, Krista, thank you.
Now is the time for public comment.
Another comment.
Yeah, it was a couple comments here. This is for Mr. Hack. Two questions. One is I noticed tomorrow we're gonna do the Small Business Saturday approval. Is there any way we could possibly have a presentation at next month's meeting about the implementation of our local bidders ordinance? I know we as a council approved this about 6 or 7 months ago, and to give staff enough time to work out the kinks and put the forms together. Is there any way we can get a presentation at our next council meeting on exactly what the process is? And
Sure,
the
we can do
city's
that.
ready? Also, I know at the last land use committee meeting, we talked about the animal control updating that contract. And I was not able to attend that meeting, I was out of town, but I did listen to the minutes. And then also there was some comments, email sent to Mr. Shanahan. I was just curious if we are going to receive a clean copy of the input you received from the meeting along with from council members. And then if we could get that prior to the next land use meeting so we can review that.
Which meeting was this? I'm sorry.
The last land use committee meeting.
Yeah.
The preliminary draft of the updating of the animal control ordinance.
Okay.
I think it's been about a month or so.
It has, I just haven't had it. There's actually four of them.
Or what, I'm
There's
sorry.
4 ordinances. That's one of the 4.
Right. I was just asking if we can update that.
Get that ahead of your next land use committee meeting.
Correct.
Sure.
And then the other question was what the status is of the lease agreement. We talked as a council again 6-7 months back regarding the lease with the train station with Bouchon.
Yes.
Is that coming before the, I mean, it's already been expired, and I know we talked about having the increase come January 1. Is that something that's going to become before?
Yeah, we
the
had a
council?
meeting last week with them, and that should be forthcoming here. I'm not sure it'll be ready next meeting, but it'll be before the end of the calendar year.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments? Is there a motion to go into closed?
See a hand
do we
go.
have-
Saw a hand go.
I don't know if we want to acknowledge this.
oh, there's-
Yesterday was the mayor's birthday, so I brought James cheesecake in for you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday, Mayor.
Is he 32 again? Is that what? 21? Okay, all right.
We'll bring this after executive session. Thank you.
Good,
You're
thank
21 and you're
you.
blonde?
Okay, fine,
Not
thank
great.
you.
Is this a big birthday, like a 5-0 birthday?
No, no, no. Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
From James Cheesecake right here in town. Best
Oh,
cheesecake in
happy
town.
best cheesecake.
Happy birthday, Mayor.
Well, give it to us. How many you logged in? How many years?
46.
46, all right.
You remember 46, don't you?
I remember 46, yeah.
Cheesecake all the time.
We don't.
I'll move to go into executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been motion seconded to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition or conveyance, pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hugg?
Aye.
Councilman McFarland?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudron?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.